again. Welcome to She's World. My name is Sheila, but you can call me She. Today, you know it's coming. Disclaimer alert, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. I am not an immigration lawyer. All the information I provide here is public knowledge. Please do not take my advice here as a legal advice. The processes I talk about is the same processes that I went through up until I got my citizenship here in America. I'm just here to share free information and to kind of help you through the process, because it is tough and sometimes it does feel a little bit lonely, and so it's nice to have, you know, a different voice kind of calm you through the process. And I hope, and it's my desire, that I am helping you through the process as well. All right, too easy. Today we are going to talk about some of the reasons why I would think that you should wait before you file. I know, like, what is she talking about? Wait? I want to get my spouse here, I want to get my family here, why do I need to wait? The concept and the idea of you wanting to have your family member here, it's beautiful, it's supportive, it's absolutely stunning. But the painful part is not being able to do that because you rushed the process. It's really not the best look. It's very expensive. And I will tell you this, anybody who is going through this or who has already done this understands that this process is extremely expensive. It really is. So it's so important that you wait so that you don't get to the point where your case gets denied because you didn't submit something, or because you lost something in USCIS, because you did it too fast to the point where enough documents were submitted and USCIS feels that this marriage or this union is not a bona fide one, and then they reject it. Now that's going to be way painful than if you had waited a little bit, 3 more months, 2 more months, even a year, to make sure that you are in the right stipulation and you are filing in the right way so you don't get denied. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to talk about a few things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is rushing to submit. Rushing to submit your application. This is not a race. It really is not. I think that, so for some weird reason, and I've come across people who think, let me just send in my form I-130 and then I will later on send the document so that I get in a queue. It's not. I don't know where some people are getting this from. It's not a race. If you go first and your A number is number 1 and somebody's A number is number 600, it doesn't mean that the 600 is going to be taken care of at the 600th level and you're going to be taken care of at the first level. No, if the 600th person has all the documents that USCIS wants, everything to prove a bona fide marriage, and you're number 1 and you have nothing to prove a bona fide marriage, USCIS is not going to approve your case because you submitted it first and then approve their case later because they submitted it later. No, this 600 person literally becomes the top one because when they submitted everything, they had all their documentations together. So please do not rush to submit your packet. I don't know why, but people think that it's best to submit something and wait till USCIS sends you requests for evidence. It's really not the best way. What you want to try to avoid is USCIS submitting a letter for you to bring in a request for additional document, because that is when that takes you to the back of the line. You want to be at the back of the line. You don't want to be at the back of the line by submitting your packet incomplete. Is what puts you at the back of the line. So now USCIS is waiting for you to bring additional documents, and they're going to throw you to the back of the line. Like, look, you're not ready. Let me move on to the 600th person who has all their stuff together. So please, don't rush it. Take your time. Take your time. Awesome. The second point I want to talk about, which kind of eats into the first point of not rushing your application, is avoiding simple mistakes. So it really feeds into it so nicely because you want to rush and submit the document, and so you're not paying attention to what you're doing. I told you all before in a couple of my videos that before we submitted our packet, I read over 766 times. My husband read over 765 times. I was on YouTube listening to lawyers take me through the process, and that's why I'm sharing this information for free. I watched so many videos to make sure that whatever that I was inputting was the right thing. And I tell you, I cannot tell you how I rechecked my own name, how I rechecked. Look, please, if you rush this, you're going to end up making simple mistakes, like typing in your address wrong, like typing your date of birth wrong, like typing your parents' date of birth wrong, or your spouse's, or your address wrong, or what. You're going to miss something because you're in the concept of let's go, so I become number one and I don't become the 600th person. And now you're making mistakes that you cannot rectify in more ways than one, because if you're typing wrong birthdays, then now you're almost proving that your marriage is not legitimate, because you're making simple mistakes that you shouldn't make. You're spelling your own name wrong. Come on now. But it's not because you don't know your name, it's because you're rushing the process. Please take your time. Also have somebody that you trust read through it. Have your spouse read through it just to make sure. And if you can afford an attorney, please, why not? Go ahead and have an attorney look over to make sure that everything that you're submitting is right and everything is accurate, so that you're not making these simple mistakes. Okay? You got this. I know you got this. The third thing I want to talk about, not waiting to meet the income level. So basically everything is under a big umbrella of not rushing, but not waiting to meet the income requirement. So when you're filing for your spouse and or your family member, there is an income requirement that you have to meet, and this income requirement really is also on USCIS website. I can do another video just really looking at all the states and all the income requirements, so we can all go over it. But in the meantime, make sure you meet the income requirement, because if you don't, say the family size you have need to have 50,000 and you made 40,000, obviously you don't meet it. So don't try to submit it and say, well, I'm going to submit it and then later I'm going to send something else, and then you go back to the line again. So I think that the thing that I realized was that, and I've come to see, and especially during my filing process, was when USCIS asked for the most recent tax documents, we added 3 years of tax documentation to prove that for 3 years in a row, we met that income requirement that USCIS is asking for. So for example, if USCIS is asking for 50,000 and your income that you reported to IRS was 40,000, but you have other additional incomes that you're claiming makes it 50,000, USCIS really, for the most part, at least what I've come to realize, and I'm not an immigration lawyer, but what I've come to realize is they look at the actual amount you're claiming on your taxes. So if you claim 40,000, but then you're saying I do other things that make me make 60,000, then it means the rest of the money, give or take, the government is not getting anything from it. But again, that is not for me to say. What I'm saying is 3 years will be a very, very good, solid showcasing of how much you've been making and how much you've been meeting the income requirement. And of course, also filing your taxes is meeting state legal requirements as well. Some people might think that, well, right now for the past 2 years, my tax returns did not meet the income requirement. But this year, I'm going to be making X amount of money that will make me meet the income requirement. So I want to go ahead and file and add my offer letter for my company to it. No. This is one of the cases that I'm going to go back to tell you that wait till a year more till you file your taxes, till you get that tax documentation, the IRS taxes, for when you file your taxes, to be able to show immigration, USCIS, that you actually meet the income requirement. It is so important. Please, this process is so tedious, so draining, and so expensive. It's going to hit your pocket. So you want to make sure that you're doing this the right way. Perfect. The fourth point I'm going to talk about is filing too soon. Now, there really isn't a right or wrong way or time frame to file, but I do know, because when I first came and I was kind of looking into when will be a good time for me to file, I realized that it is going to be a bad idea. I will say this, take it, don't take it, but I will tell you, it will be a bad idea to file just a week after you got married, or 2 weeks after you got married, or a month, or 2 months, or even 3 months. I would honestly suggest, again, I'm not an immigration attorney, but I would suggest filing 6 months after your marriage if you want to kind of file a little bit early. And 6 months is early, a little bit early after you got married. Do not do 1 month, do not do 2 months, because it just shows that at least to immigration, that your whole intent was just to get your paperwork. So wait, 6 months to a year is beautiful. It's a sweet spot, it's a good spot for you to file your paperwork. Even if you wait 2 years, the good thing for you filing after 2 years is that you actually file to get your 10-year green card, not your 2-year conditional resident green card. So that's the good side to it. But of course, I know there is inflation, people need money, we need that 2-income support to help the family, so I completely understand. But what USCIS will not understand is you filing 2 weeks after your marriage. Like, that is way too soon. Also, even getting married, so when you come into America and you're going to get married to your spouse, a lot of immigration attorneys have said that if you didn't come in with a K-1 visa and you came in with a tourist visa and you're marrying a week after you arrive in America, that also really doesn't show a bona fide marriage. This doesn't even piece together. Typically, you're looking between 3 months or more if you get married. That kind of solidifies it a little bit, if it makes sense. So please don't file too soon. Do not try to file a week after you're married, 2 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, at least within 6 months to a year. That at least gives you and your spouse time to even gather documents to prove a bona fide marriage. Because if you're married 1 week after you get here, really, what is your chain of documents to prove a bona fide marriage? If you want to get an affidavit of support for people around you, your neighbors, your family that you came to meet America, to say they know you, 1 week, nobody's going to write that letter for you. I will be surprised, but to each their own. Regardless, that can actually get your case denied as well if you file way too soon. So make sure you're looking at that. And the last one, which I have talked about, is it will hit your pocket. The fifth one will be your pocket really struggling. Your bank is going to struggle. Your finances is going to struggle if you're rushing this application, and then it becomes extremely, extremely expensive for you. So now, not only, and it's really a heartbreak. It's a lot of loss. It's a lot of pain in this situation, because your spouse might have to end up facing deportation, and then your finances is shot out because you spent all this money to apply for this process, and then you got denied because you rushed it, you made mistake, you filed too soon, you didn't meet the income requirement. It's going to be a fiasco. So please don't rush this. If you have any questions regarding what documents you have to attach, I have multiple videos. If you have questions regarding what forms you need to fill, I have videos out there. Please take your time, watch it. There are other YouTubers out there that talk about it as well. Please watch so much videos to make sure that you're ready for this process. It's a beautiful process when you get the green card. It's so awesome when you get that mail, when you go to that interview and you get the approval. But to get there, to be able to get to the interview, then to get your green card, then to go to the process, you have to start from the beginning. And this is what I'm trying to make sure, that you're not rushing it and you're taking your time. And at the end of the day, you're going to come out being with your family. And that's all what we are looking for. So we all get to live together as one big family. Once again, my name is Sheila, but you can call me She. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back again with another video. Bye, Royals. Have a safe day. Bye.